What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community. I hope you guys been having a good evening. If you want more basketball content, tune into Basketball Conversations every Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Time. This is where we discuss basketball-related topics, news, debates, and everything else in the world of basketball. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to get all the latest notifications when I start dropping videos and live streams. If you want to donate to the channel, I'll put the PayPal and Cash App link underneath the description box if you want to donate any money to the value of this channel. Well, I got to say that the hits keep on country for Mr. Old Kendrick Perkins. This last Monday, he basically posted on Twitter that that LeBron James is the greatest athlete of all time. There's no question about it. Well, Mr. Celtic himself, Bill Russell, who we don't hear too much on social media these days, decided to come on board and pretty much put in his 2 cents on the entire topic. And pretty much Bill Russell pretty much had to teach Mr. Kendrick Perkins, who was a former Celtic, a little lesson here. He basically said on his Twitter page, and quote, "In 1956, I could have made the Olympics in high jump, but turned it down to play basketball instead because we could only play one sport then. Track and Field News ranked me as the seventh high jumper in the world. I was ranked number 2 in the U.S. at the time." He also retweeted as well. "In addition to my leaping ability, I was also somewhat known as an outstanding sprinter." You know what I'm saying? End quote. To emphasize his point, pretty much Russell was even kind enough to give out vintage clips of him hauling himself down up and down the court and jumping almost like a gazelle from the free throw line and trying to stop somebody from getting a layup off. Well, after Mr. Russell pretty much ethered Kendrick Perkins on the entire facts and presented evidence along the way, unfortunately, he had to change his opinion. He said in his tweet, and quote, "Well, I've been checked by an all-time great. So sorry, hashtag King James. I've had a change of heart. The real Bill Russell is the most athletic player in NBA history." End quote. Let me tell y'all something, okay? The hits keep on coming for Kendrick Perkins. Listen, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are pretty much right about their assessment about Kendrick Perkins. The guy is a joke. He's a sellout. And more importantly, the guy all talks all this junk just for the bag. That's all there is to it. And for you to pretty much say that LeBron James is the greatest freaking nature of all time, dismissing all other great athletes like Michael Jordan and Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, is a complete insult. And the fact is, you continue this dude, Kendrick Perkins, case for LeBron James 24/7, 365. This is one of the main reasons why I don't even bother ordering ESPN or Fox Sports on my cable package, because it's not worth the money. It's not worth the time, even during this growing pandemic and also the social injustice era going on around here, to listen to this dude and even Shannon Sharp. And I'm gonna get to Shannon Sharp in a little bit, but it's not worth the time listening to these garbage debate shows where you have no one to basically strong enough to counter and pretty much basically put dudes like Kendrick Perkins, Damon Jones, and Ryan Hollins in their place when they say ridiculous stuff every single time, only to big up on LeBron James. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, Bill Russell is not a guy that uses, social media a lot. He only uses Twitter only a few times every, a year or something like that. He's the kind of guy that doesn't talk much. But when he speaks, we all listen. Now, I did a video months back about how Bill Russell would struggle against other centers of different eras. So that's a totally different subject. But when it comes to like great players and great winners, there's nobody in the NBA that touches that than Bill Russell. And you know what? If Kendrick Perkins decided to go after a legend, it would look even worse. So he decided to backtrack and basically play the coward's way. I say, okay, my bad, man. I'm sorry, LeBron. I support you, brother. I always support you, but Mr. Celtic basically ethered me, and I can't argue against him. I can't. That's all he ever did. And by the way, too, even Shannon Sharp pretty much was basically still backing up LeBron James, even after Mr. Russell basically ethered Kendrick Perkins with all some facts. I'm telling you this, though, guys. listening to these debate shows is just basically cancer for somebody that doesn't know about basketball. For people that watch basketball and study the game like me, it's just ridiculous because everything they say is absolutely 100% fiction. They just do it basically for bias, perspective. You know what I mean? Just for click views. Every time when they say something outlandish, what do? You click on it and you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And I will admit, I fell for that same. I fell for the same cycle too. In fact, I even watched those debate shows nonstop when I was in college until I started realizing that you know what, this is becoming much more ridiculous. They're not always right about everything, and besides that, Stephen A. Smith is not always right about everything. Was he ever been right about anything? You know what I mean? And he's supposed to be an analyst. You know what I mean? See, I have a journalism degree, but what I'm seeing from the media is that there's too much biased media going on around here. There's no clear cut, consistent media going on around here. And it's really becoming much more difficult to do that when you basically got all sorts of people that want different types of media. They want left wing, right wing, they want this kind of media and that kind of media. Like there's no other clean cut media to basically just tell the truth, regardless of what people think, because we live in a sensitive society right now. And Kendrick Perkins is one of the great examples of that. The dude is literally spilling secrets left and right about some of the biggest and darkest secrets in the NBA, and players are not happy about it. You know what I mean? And this is one of the reasons why Kevin Durant keeps blasting Kendrick Perkins every chance he get, because he's basically you're breaking the code of breaking down the secrets that only stays in locker rooms. You don't release that stuff into the public. And I get tired when media people call Kevin Durant sensitive. Well, first of all, how is it being sensitive when basically a dude's basically breaking down secrets that should not be allowed to be exposed to the media? How's that being sensitive? And number two, when basically someone tries to attack your integrity, okay, how is that being sensitive? It's called defending your own personal integrity as a man. Y'all would have not known that because you don't have any integrity to have it to begin with. You understand what I'm saying? Real journalists have real integrity because they focus on the truth and nothing but the truth, and they don't care what your feelings are. I respect the real journalists that are out there digging through the trenches, risking their lives to give us, the people, the truth. Not these kind of people that you see on television every single week, because most of them haven't even done close to what the other journalists have done every single day. You know what I mean? And think about this. Kendrick Perkins got lucky to get a job because of his affiliation with LeBron James. Everybody knows this because the guy was basically a bum throughout his entire career, worse than Draymond Green. And I hate to say that because Draymond Green is actually a little bit more better than Kendrick Perkins. I'm telling you, y'all, it's ridiculous, man. So yeah, salute to Bill Russell, the Mr. 11-time NBA champion, the basically the architect of the Celtic dynasty. You know what I mean? And Kendrick Perkins, had to pull himself back because he knew if he tried to go and debate against one of the great, winners of all time in the history of sports, it's a lose-lose situation. And unfortunately, he knew that it was not going to work out too well for him. So he basically humbled himself and, pulled back. But trust me, this is going to be much more, dumb stuff coming out of Kendrick Perkins from this point forward. So, we're going to be here, blazing him and try to cook him every single time he run his mouth, though, man. So, that's just my 2 cents about the whole situation. Once again, salute to Bill Russell for putting Kendrick Perkins in his place, and now he's got to go back to the drawing board and find out a way to bid this somebody else again. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section.